Now then, YouTube, it's me again, Yorkshire Lad, with another video. Hello, welcome if you know. I'm Yorkshire Lad Wayne, pleased to meet you. You know the usual thing. Click that notification bell, that'll let you know when I upload again. Like, comment, share, subscribe, please, because it don't cost you out and it's free. And if you could get us to 10-15 likes, much appreciated. Now, I had a request from one of my subscribers to do me best bargains, pickups I've ever had. So I might do 5 or 10. So if you could get us to 10-15 likes, much appreciated. Thank you so much. And I forgot what the name of the channel is, but thanks for request like, and I'll see what I can do my best. So right, my top 10, either top 5 or top 10 best pickups I've had. They're in no random order. So right now, when I was doing eBay, which was probably about 10, 12, 14 years ago, I used to do a lot of charity shop hunting, and you used to be pretty lucky then, in them days, when they used to be able to pick up stuff up for pretty cheap. And I once went into one of the charity shops where I live. It's sadly gone now. It's a vape shop, I think. So, don't smoke. It's not good for you. I got pally with one of the women who worked there. And every time I used to go in, she used to say, I'm sorry, we ain't got no new in this week, but we should be having a delivery next week, so we'll keep you some stuff aside. Anyway, this particular day, I'd gone in, and she says, I've got something for you. I went, oh, ah. She went, ah. Anyway, she went it back, come out, and she had like a tote, a plastic box. And it had a random mixture of games in. There was some PSP games, PlayStation games, PlayStation 2, a couple of PS3, a few 360 games, and some odd random wires and stuff. So I says to her, how much you want for that? She says, shoot me an offer. So I says, I'll tell you what I'll do. I says, I'll give you a tenner, right? And I'll check, see if they're all working and stuff, games and whatnot, and then I'll get some prices and I'll stick them on my eBay shop, and whatever profit I make, I'll go halves with you. She says, right, deal. I says, and I will write down the prices and I will show you how much profit I've made after fees and everything, and we'll go 50-50. She says, no, I trust you. I says, no. I says, I'll do it all above board. She says, right, okay. Right, so I went. Anyway, I think there were 2 games that didn't work, and there were 2 scratched. I asked one at mates and he couldn't get them, so I had to bin them. So, cut a long story short, listed it all, except for wires, because I didn't know what most of them come from. Anyway, listed it, and bearing in mind it cost me a tenner, after fees and everything, I got about 45 quid. Just about £44 and some pennies. So I went back to the shop about a couple of weeks after. Luckily she were on. I says, here we go. So I gave her 22 quid. She says, are you sure? I says, yeah, look. I says, it's about £44 something. So I'm not bothered about pennies. So I says, right, there you go. He says, if ever I get out in again, sorted. So that would a decent deal. Went over to a charity shop over at Girlfriends at Sheffield, and we called in. I've told you about this one when I got that crystal Xbox for a £5 with about 30-40 games and a controller and wires and everything. He just wanted rid of it. Went to Cash Converters in Barnsley, and you know them old WWF Hasbro figures, they had a couple of them in. So I asked them what they want for it. Anyway, they were a bit steep, so I did a bit of checking. Anyway, they'd underpriced them, so I think I picked them up for about £7 for both. Anyway, I ended up listing both of them, and I think I got about £40. So that were after fees and everything. One of them what Rockers tag team sealed. Other one were Jet the Snake Roberts, but he were loose. But he had his snake with him and that. So that were a good deal. I was trying to think what else. Oh, I once went to this shop that were closing down over my way, and it was a toy shop, and they had they were selling off a load of toys and stuff. Anyway, they had a few Return of Jedi figures, and this was about 85, something like that. So long after, it was 2 years after the film had come out, and I think he was selling them all off about 10p each. 20p at most. Anyway, so I managed to get about half a dozen figures, and a couple of them were battered, but the two battered ones, I put them on eBay. No, I didn't. No, sorry. Well, that's way before eBay. I kept them. That's what I'm trying to. Sorry, track back. Yeah, I got them. Anyway, I come across them when I was doing eBay, and I picked them out. Anyway, I did some research, and they were still asking a few quid then. Thought no more about it. Stuck them on eBay within about a couple of hours. They're both sold. I put them on for about £20 each, and they sold for about £70. So that was a good buy as well for 20p, something like that, 1985. And then I sold them about 2014, 15, something like that. Not a bad return, that. And then when I used to do eBay as well, I used to get a load of like DVDs and stuff, pick them up from charity shop, even Blu-rays for about 10p. Stick them on eBay, and majority of times, some at Blu-rays they'd sell for about 5, 7, 10 quid. That's for an outlay of about £1. From Poundland as well, when they were selling them, and then from charity shop, you used to get them for about 50p. Pound at most, but usually they used to do like 10 DVDs for £1 and stuff like that. So I used to do all right with kiddies DVDs and stuff. Even PSP movies, you know, them UMD movies, you used to be able to pick them up for about 50p. I used to sell them stick them on eBay and sell them for about 5, 6, 7 quid, tenner. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. Can't complain. A bit of a wheeler daily, you know, a bit of awful daily and all that, you know. I've got to get in light and sell them all. Make millions, you know. Don't know where that come from. Yeah, so it was crazy. I mean, I used to pick up, like, I've got some wrestling videos here, look. I used to pick them up off at market for like £1, sometimes 50p. And ones I'd already got, I used to get them, stick them on eBay, and sell them for about 3, 4, 5 quid. So yeah, it was crazy. I once got a load of, once knew this bloke from one of the charity shops, and he used to buy and sell watches and repair them. And I got pally with him. And he used to say to us, do us a favour. What? Sell us, I'll give you a rough idea how much I want for these watches and see if I can get them. But don't take too much of a loss on them. And he says, well, go F's. I says, aye, all right, don't forget I've got fees and that. He says, aye, well, work it out and then we'll... So, anyway, once give me these couple of watches, and he said, these should do pretty well, these. He says, I picked them up, and person didn't want them. So he says, they said they won't be able to repair them. They were just knackered, so he says, Anyway, when he saw them, he says, these are... Anyway, they're from 1930s. So he got them working, cleaned them up and that. He says, here, stick these on eBay. Probably ask about... He says, just to get some interest, he says, put them on for about a tenner. He says, put them on an auction for a tenner. Put it on for 7 days. He says, and we'll see how much we get. I says, aye, all right. Anyway, listed them all, took photos, listed them. He gave me a description, so I copied it, what he'd written down, put it in description and that. Anyway, stuck it on. Well, I stuck it on, sorry. We first hour, I think they'd gone from a tenner to like 35 quid. Come to end, at eBay listing, they'd both sold for about 120 quid. That were minus fees and everything, so we split that. Sadly, not long after that, I were in midst of getting some more. And sadly, he ended up going to hospital. He had a bad do, and about 2 months after, he sadly passed away. So, yeah, R.I.P., my old mate. So, yeah, right, I've done enough waffling. So, hopefully that'll be interesting. And like you say, you never know your luck. You could go into a charity shop, pick some up, and you think, nah, it's not worth no. Let's do a bit of research. Next thing, could be a few quid in. So, never say never, as they say. Right, I'm going to leave it there. So, hopefully you've enjoyed this. And like I say, if you could get us to 10, 15 likes and subscribe if you haven't. And much appreciated. And until next time, stay safe, take care. By the way, that's not a ghost, even though house is haunted. My brother had heating on, I've just turned it off. So that's probably cooling down now. That's why that's waffing about. Right, I'm going to leave it there. That was random, useless information. So until next time, that knows what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it with us. Right, that'll do for us. 1, 2, 3. Stay safe, take care, and until next time, go bagging hunting. I'll see the bagging hunting.